Last bottle of wine goes like that for
Thanks
me.
everybody for coming. Thanks everybody for coming. I know Krista would have loved this. I just wrote a little something, just to eulogize our good friend. And I need my glasses. Krista and I met when we were both in a very transitional time in our lives. We were both looking for a friend, and we found that in each other. She was kind and warm and beyond generous. She always had a warm and welcoming smile and never had a negative word to say about anybody. One of her favorite places was Lake Mac, she introduced to us, and we shared many weekends there in the last 3 summers. She would bring enough food and drinks and water toys for the whole beach, and was happy to share with everyone. As everyone knows, her pride and joy were her puppies. Watching her wrangle those 4 into her car to go to the park was hilarious. We'd go to the dog park, and watching her run after them made her so happy. After Krista bought her land, she truly found serenity, which is what she called it. Whenever she had the opportunity, whether with friends or by herself, that's where she would be. Krista's other passion was jeeping. She loved her ladybug. She had so many great friends in her jeeping community. I will cherish the short time I knew Krista. I will always remember her infectious laugh and beautiful smile, taken way too soon. Anybody else who knew Krista different or a different time in her life wants to say something?
I will. I didn't think I would. So, as a lot of you know, I have Maisie, her oldest beagle. I met Krista through Richard. So, I'm so glad Steve is here, because the only reason that I met you guys to begin with was because I've known Steve forever. And Steve invited us to go to McConaughey one year, and then we've got another friend. My other friend was like, oh, let's go to McConaughey, don't worry about a tent, we're gonna, let's just go. And it was me and my black lab. And so Dexter and I and Sam piled up into the Jeep. We go to Lake McConaughey, we get there, we meet Richard and Krista and Tyler, which I still can't believe that's you. So start setting stuff up, and Sam was like, well, we're gonna sleep in the tent that I'm putting on the boat. It was like a little 2-man tent. I was like, dude, I've known you for 30 years. Yeah, no. We're friends, not gonna happen. And Krista was so gracious and so amazing, and she's like, just come stay with us in the camper. And Richard, you were on board. Yeah, just stay with us in the camper. And my black lab and I stayed on the couch in their camper the very first time I met Krista. And she has been so amazing through this whole point. And honestly, I would not be standing here. I would not know any of you if it weren't for Krista. Krista and Brian came to see me after my ankle surgery a 1.5 years ago, and Krista invited me to HRS, and it's just crazy because I honestly would not, well, I would know you. And I would know you. Okay, I would know 3 of you. But I wouldn't know any of you if it weren't for Krista. And my life it evolves around all of you because of Krista and because of being invited to HRS. So I miss Krista. She was awesome. I loved her laugh, and I loved her generosity, and I loved her. It didn't matter who you were, she welcomed everyone. So.
aspect of being.
Take the floor.
I can't really speak from the aspect of Krista being really a friend as much, but I'm sure I speak for all of the kids and everybody who's my age who got to experience Krista. She just loved kids, and I feel like if she were to be a mom, she probably would have been one of the best moms in the world. She absolutely adored kids. She took care of me whenever I'd go over there on the weekends to visit with my dad. She'd always have recipes planned to cook together. So we'd turn a whole weekend into cooking. So I made chicken parmesan and chili and countless other things. But she was always so respectful of the fact that, I still had another, I don't want to say a second life outside of the life that I had with them, but, having divorced parents, it kind of seems like that a little bit, but, I still can't respect a woman enough for still being kind and generous to my mom, kind and generous to me and my dad, and taking my dad and I in and really just giving us a loving, caring home to share, So, on top of that, I'm sure she was a great friend to everybody, but she was also a great mentor. She had a lot of wisdom. I could go and talk to her about anything in my video games, and even though she didn't care about them, she still listened to me. I can't tell you, the thing I always remember is the first time I hooked the Xbox up there. I hooked it up in the living room on the TV, and her and my dad had to sit there and listen to Minecraft for hours, just me picking away and building stuff and killing stuff. Playing video games, and then I'd go and rant about my video games to them. And even though she didn't probably care or know what I was talking about, she still listened and would go along with the conversation. And so I can't thank her enough for how kind she's been to me and my family.
I think it's cute that Jackson came in here.
Aww.
I wasn't, I was a friend of Krista's, but we weren't that extremely close, but I really admired Krista for the way she welcomed people. Like you've heard, she was just so generous with, just as kind as can be. If you needed help, she was there to help you. If you needed a chili recipe, she was there to give it to you so you could win your chili cook-off. if you needed a place to stay in an RV, she was there to give you a place to stay. She was just such an amazing person, and such, she was, even on the professional side, she started out with PeopleSoft and ended up with Oracle, and worked there for many years, and she just was such an amazing person that her passing is a big loss to many more people that weren't even able to make it today. But I really appreciate that you all could come today and help us in celebrating her, and just I think thinking that Krista is now at peace is just such an amazing way to think of her. We all have amazing memories of her, and I think that's for all of us to be able to share her next stage, I guess, in life. I think I really appreciate you all coming, and I have to know that she is definitely at peace, and she is still with us in spirit, and I'm so happy and so glad that I was able to meet her, because there isn't another person like her. And I think you all know that, maybe you don't, but we have a group of friends, a group of single friends that all came together, and she was a really big advocate for the newbies, and she would always make them feel at home. So she touched so many people in that way, again, making them feel comfortable. And she lived by the group and lived for meeting new people, and I just appreciate the heart she had, and I wish her the best and peace in the future. But but thank you all for coming, I really appreciate that. It means a lot to everyone, well, it means a lot to you that you're here, I hope, and all of us that have you here with us, celebrating her memory. But would you like to say?
I don't speak in public. I stutter so
We're not
bad.
public.
I stutter so bad, I don't even understand myself.
This isn't public.
It's not public. We have a dog sitting here,
There you
Blake
go.
here, she's stealing the show.
So it was interesting because I got into Jeeping probably 10 years ago, and I was a member of some of the original Jeep meetups, like a lot of you were in Colorado Jeep People and Rock On 4x4, now a member of Colorado Rock Crawlers. But what's interesting is that when I joined Colorado Jeep People, and starting going on some of the runs, and of course I think everybody knows Charlie Heaton, so he introduced me to a lot of people, and that's when I first met Krista. And Barry didn't go, she had no interest in Jeeping, so she didn't go on any Jeep runs with me. and so for 5 years, you know, I did all these Jeep runs, and you know, I saw Chris on CJP. We did some runs and some snow bashing up in, you know, Swedish and Boulder and so forth. But and then, you know, Raycon with Rock On 4x4, and so I was hanging out with this group, and Barry didn't know any of them. And then later on, I joined some other groups and didn't go Jeeping too much with Rock On and Colorado Jeep People anymore, and sort of I lost touch with Krista. And then a couple years after that, you know, I was talking to Barry, and she said, yeah, I've been going to the dog park, because we had 2 half beagles at the time, and she says, I've been going to the dog park with this really cool chick that's got 4 beagles. She's got 4 beagles, and we've become really good friends, and she's telling me about her, and I said, what's her name? And she said, it's Krista. And I said, okay, and then I didn't think anything about it, and then we started putting the dots together, and, or, you know, and then all of a sudden, it was like, she has this Jeep called Ladybug, do you know her? And so Barry had met her on her own and become friends with her,
Funny.
even though I had already known her for 5 years before then and been friends with her too. So so then we started doing stuff together, and she came up to the cabin, and we went Jeeping and hanging out and going to Lake McConaughey. But it's just really weird that we had met her separately and known each other for all this time. But she was a great person, as everybody said. She was always in a good mood, always very welcoming, and just really fun to Jeep with. But no, it's just sad we lost a great person. So that's all I have.
So Chris and I met in the singles group. As most of the singles people know, I'm a Patriot fan.
Sorry about that.
You know, there can only be one great team, so.
Dallas Cowboys.
So the very first event I set up was for the playoffs group. For the pads, and her and I were just, you know, talking back and forth. And she came to help me secure a table for me and 14 women. Which was
Sounds
a
like a
very
group.
interesting evening. But you know, we really hit it off. Talking, we had a lot in common, and the more we met and dated, the more we began to realize that we really cared for each other. And we spent forever looking for that land because she wanted trees, I wanted view. But the one thing that we definitely agreed on was the name, and it was Serenity after the TV show Firefly. That was something we had in common and would watch, even though there was only like 14 episodes, we'd watch again and again and again. She introduced me to Jeannie. This was actually my first run, so I'm not a virgin anymore. She felt I did pretty good, and I guess it's a real easy run, right?
Which one was it?
Argentina. It's okay. Yeah.
Good.
It's a great one.
Good. So it wasn't too easy. So
It was more than.
the river was fun.
Yeah.
She filmed me going through the river. She was an amazing person. She was someone I really wanted to spend my life with. And she took care of my nephew. She welcomed him with open arms, even though he had his demons that eventually led to his death. But she loved him, and his death truly devastated her. And now her death is hard. Most of the times I think I should have been a better boyfriend, and then she'd still be here. If I had been with her, maybe, I don't know. Anyway. I do know her energy is out there. She's looking for beagles all over the world, probably talking to them. I'm pretty sure she's talking to them and trying to find them homes. So, this isn't goodbye to Krista. This is, she's paving the way for all of us when the future comes for us. And we'll all be there. And we'll be able to laugh, especially with that smile of hers. Thanks.